makers, Lisa here from Andrie Designs. Today I have a super quick and easy tutorial on how to create a gusset using directional fabric. It's really straightforward, there's only a couple of steps and you can create a gusset where the directional print is running in the right direction on both sides of the gusset once it's attached to the bag. It's really quick and easy, so let's get started. To fussy cut a gusset using directional fabric such as this one from Sarah Golden's Tiger Plant collection, you first are going to need to take note that instead of normally, as you would normally cut your gusset on the fold across your fabric, you're actually going to cut it down your fabric to ensure that as the gusset curves up on the bag, your print is up the right way as it goes. So I'm going to use this fabric. And I've got my pattern piece here from the S&S tote, and I'll pop a link to that pattern in the description below. And all I'm going to do first is I'm going to, because I have beautiful cactus on this fabric and I want to make sure that they are right down the middle of the gusset once it's cut. So I'm just going to fold the top and bottom in half to find the center, and I'm just going to mark that with a pencil, because what I'm going to do is line the pattern piece up centered directly over top of the middle of the cactus. So now that I have my center marks in my pattern piece, I'm going to lie it on top of the fabric. I'm actually going to do this sideways, I think. And if I go straight over top of these cactus, it's going to come off the edge. So I'm going to have to use this row here. And all I'm going to do is ensure at the top edge that the center is centered directly over the center of my cactus, and same down the bottom. So I'll just use my ruler to hold that. So down the bottom, I wonder if I can. So I've got my center mark and I'm actually going to put that directly in the middle of the bottom of the pot. So that one's there, that's going to stay there, and up the top it just fits on my piece of fabric. I'm going to check, that looks like it's about in the center there. So when we go to cut it out, what we're going to do, because we're not cutting this on the fold, we're actually going to stitch the bottom edge together to then have two pieces with the print going in opposite directions. So we need to add on a seam allowance at the bottom in replace of that fold. So all we're going to do is add a 1/4 inch on, and then at the machine we will stitch it with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So when you cut around your pattern piece with your rotary cutter or scissors, make sure that at the bottom you don't cut straight across the pattern piece. I rotary it, so I just use my ruler. I add a 1/4 inch on with the ruler and I cut across there and then around the rest of it. So you need to go ahead and cut 2 out of your gusset fabric. You can either have your fabric doubled over and cut them out at the same time, or if you're like me and you want to ensure your print is down the center of your gusset, then you do them one at a time so you can really make sure you've got that print nicely centered and everything is lined up. What I'm also doing at the bottom is I've got my pattern piece right on the bottom edge of the pot, so that once I've stitched a 1/4 inch seam allowance, this pot and the pot on the next one, because I'm going to position the next one exactly the same, those two pots are going to meet right nicely where that seam's going to sit at the bottom of the gusset. Not that you'll see it because it's the bottom of the bag, but hey, I'll know that I've done a good job on it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut out 2 pieces, adding on that 1/4 inch seam allowance at the bottom end where the fold is of my gusset pattern pieces. once you have your 2 gusset pieces cut out and running in the same direction with the top edge at the top, all we're going to do is place them right sides together, and we're going to pin or clip the bottom edge where we've cut that extra 1/4 inch on, or left on I should say. We're going to pin or clip that together, and then at the machine we're going to go and stitch these to join using a 1/4 inch seam allowance and a normal stitch length of about 2 to 2.5 millimeters. So pause the video, pop over to your machine and stitch those to join, and then at your iron you need to press the seams open so they're nice and flat. And pop back here once you've done that. Once you've stitched your 2 gusset pieces together and pressed your seam open, this is what you should have. 2 pieces with the print running in the same direction if they're held up as if they were on the bag, joined at the center, almost looking like a mirror image of each other, and on the wrong side of the fabric you have a beautiful little 1/4 inch seam pressed open. That is it. That is all there is to creating a gusset out of directional fabric, and from here you would fuse your fabric to interfacing or whatever is the next part of your pattern, and you're ready to move on. And that's all there is to it. You now have a professional looking gusset with the fabric running in the correct direction on both sides. So when you attach it to the bag, it is going to look really good. I hope you've really enjoyed this video, and I hope you've learnt a few little tips and tricks. Until next time, happy sewing!